Francisco 49ers deep in the heart. Like Joe Montana in the corner, D. Clark. Garrison Hurst, stiff farm going 99.
This is the 49er Faithful UK show, and that was week 18, and that was the 2024 season done. It ends, somewhat fittingly, with a whimper, a 47-24 loss to the Cardinals. The season's end is usually a rather sad time, but I don't think I'm alone in being somewhat relieved that we can finally flush the stinking floater that is 2024. I'm Gareth Ellis, and we're back to a full house. It's Lee Gowland.
Hey fellas, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. It's Paul Hope.
What's up, fellas?
And it's Naji Karar.
Hello, everyone.
Happy New Year, gentlemen. Good to see you. Good to be back. All four. I felt a bit lonely with slim pickings over Christmas, but I hope you had good times with the families. So,
yeah, definitely.
And some swag there for Paul, certainly.
Well, the girls know what to buy me for Christmas, don't they? I'm not exactly hard to buy for. But no, it has been strange missing a few pods. I wasn't very well over Christmas, but it's great to be back. And as Lee said, Happy New Year, everyone. 2025, Gareth. Blow my neck.
Yeah. So, there's not a huge amount, I think, we can take from an injury-riddled dead rubber of a game. So we're going to limit you, or I'm going to limit you to 2 talking points, because I'm going to save that third talking point to kind of sum up the season. But let's flush the Cardinals first, because it's what they deserve. Some talking points. Paul, Mr. Homework.
So I've got one negative, second half collapse. We've heard this story before many times this year. And I've got a positive. Believe it or not, there was a lone bright spot in the game, and that was our rookie, Ricky Purcell. Now, I had seen some UK faithful not happy with Ricky's performance in the last few weeks, and some discussion in our group. So for me, Ricky balled out last night, and I wanted to kind of have a negative and a positive, because our very own Eric Oregard kept the spirits high in Discord last night, didn't he, Naji? He asked for a positive towards the end of the game. So when you limited us to 2, there's my 2 for you, Gareth.
Excellent. Naji, what have you got to answer that?
I want to talk about Josh Dobbs and what we're going to do with him, and also, and
that's not a positive, then.
No, definitely not. I love JJ so much. Please sign him to like 20 million years and just keep him forever. JJ, what a man.
Lee.
So that's interesting between Paul and Naji. They've both covered my 2. So my first one was fourth quarter collapse yet again. And the other one was JJ. I just love that guy. I love what he did last night. I have no complaints. I thought it was harsh that he got ejected, but I've got no complaints about it. I think he's probably woken up this morning feeling a little bit disappointed in himself because he was only 25 yards away from 1,000.
Yeah. Great minds think alike, obviously. I've got Do You Want a Piece of Me, which I think I've probably used that one before. And expanding really on Purcell, I've just put rookies, because that is a positive, because there's the list there. I've got 6 names who all made greater or lesser contributions, but all contributed to a game. And we needed that. So I think there's only one place to start. It is JJ, isn't it? Harsh to be ejected. I don't see what he was doing wrong, really. I think they've poked him there. I think they know that he's poked a lot of players over the years, including Cardinals players. I think they poked him. And I think they've won one there. So hopefully he can learn from that. But sign the man for life. We love JJ.
Yes, I mean, just sign him. Just give him 10 years. Who cares? Let's pay him all the money. Don't care. But I called it on the show. Just want to say, I did call that there was going to be a fight.
You did.
Got 2 fights out of it. Thank you, JJ. But that's just is the heart and soul, isn't it? It's just so good to see him bury people into the grass. I just love it. Kittle does it. JJ does it on a different level. He's just mean about it, which I really love. Yeah, it's a shame he didn't get an extra 25 yards, but I think he's the kind of guy that would rather get ejected of a meaningless game than getting the 1,000 yards. I think he's probably got more pride in the fact that he buried Bunting Murphy twice rather than get 1,000 yards.
I think it possibly says that he doesn't have a 1,000-yard target on his contract, perhaps. So,
And that's it, yeah.
he seemed to be in far too good spirits for someone who's just missed out on that.
Yeah, unless they're just gonna give him anyway and be done with it. But yeah, no. What can you say? It's just so much fun to watch JJ play, and he delivers as well. Third and Jawan. I think he got 1 or 2 in the first half before he got kicked out. It's just he's always there. He just delivers on like play wise, and even when he doesn't have the ball, he just he's great. Sign him again. 7th round pick.
Gonna say it makes his contract extension even better, doesn't it? I saw a headline earlier: Juwan Jennings goes out with a bang or a punch, and it made me chuckle because I don't know if you saw Mike Evans tied Jerry Rice, and there's a few people unhappy with Vegas and the betting markets because he hit 89 receiving yards and they're not paying out or something like that. And it made me think, Najee, Vegas will have been chuckling because Jennings would have been odds on before the game to smash that to get the 1,000 yards, and like you said, it was just typical of 3rd and Juwan. We were all chuckling about it in the Discord. I've watched the game back this morning for my sins, and even though I knew it was coming, I just loved seeing him barreling him over. And like you said, there's a smile on his face, and it was the longest ejection ever. And there was a bit in the broadcast that I missed where he goes over to the faithful and he's all pumped up, and there's a Cardinals fan in a blue jersey kind of waving at him, and JJ's not even bothered. He's just like, and I was like, yes, I love that man.
Oh, good.
Lee,
he's the kind of player. He's the kind of player that can make an impact when he's catching the ball and when he's not, and that's the good thing about him. For me, I value JJ over Debo.
Totally,
especially the way Debo's played this season. Yeah, it's not. It's not.
No.
I've loved the guy since the Super Bowl. Obviously, when he won us that bet, but I loved him before that as well. I think he's a great player. I love his energy. I love the way he goes about things. And I think he's the perfect pairing with Ayuk and Peasel.
Yeah.
Ooh, dropping controversy already. Getting rid of Debo. We're not getting rid of Debo. It's too expensive.
We are getting rid of Debo. Debo's gone.
He's not.
I'm saying it's too expensive. But we've got a
long
long off-season to talk about all of this, chaps.
There's going to be an opening in Miami for a wide receiver, and somebody there might want him. So
that's true.
But we've covered JJ. Dobbs, Najee. Is this a positive or a negative?
Well, kind of. I don't know. It was definitely better than Brandon Allen until it wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We knew that's what we were going to get, though. It was going to be great or terrible, and not much in between.
Yeah, and we did call it when we did that preview. We kind of wanted a bit more fun. We wanted a bit of carelessness, and that's basically what we got. And now the question is that what you want as a backup on your team? And it's a real question you want to ask yourself. Even though this game was completely meaningless, you do have to evaluate what he can bring to the team into next season. And I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'd rather see Tanner Mordecai or somebody else that we draft this year. I don't know. I don't think it was quite enough to be exciting enough that we keep him because he can bring something a little extra juice. No pun intended. Even though that touchdown was pretty cool. It's just if it was just the one fumble, I'd be like, okay, it happens. But the fumble, then the pick on the very next drive, that's just kind of a little bit much for my taking. And as much as I don't really care, I kind of do too. And I think he played not exceptionally enough to get away with those 2 mistakes. And that's the problem. I think the ceiling was a little bit too low for him to be able to get away with throwing the game away in the fourth, basically.
First game in whatever
True.
it would be, at least 12 months, if not longer. So
very true. I was just I don't know. I was kind of hoping more runs, more deep passes, a little bit more before the mistakes. If you know what I mean. It was a very middling, and then it was a 2 mistakes. So I'm not sure, but you're right. He hasn't played football in a long time. So
there was a backup quarterback lighting it up for the Rams. If that's of interest to you, Najee, maybe.
Oh God, let's not go there, please.
Well, I was going to say, Gareth, I was watching Red Zone before our game, and a backup quarterback was starting for the Dallas Cowboys, and he didn't look very good at all. And it reminded me, Najee, like our group's very good at having the discussions, and we're going to talk about Brock, but sometimes you've got to be careful what you wish for. I was looking around the league last night, and like you said, week 18, you're evaluating these backups, and people are playing for contracts. We all remember Josh Dobbs getting that start, for the Vikings and line up. I was like you, Najee, I expected more. And when he was running around, I thought, this is maybe why you don't have a mobile quarterback in this league. Like you said, that fumble where the ball popped out. Meaningless game, Gareth. No one in Discord was getting their knickers in a twist, apart from us, hoping Lee Gowland wasn't going to win the prediction league. But more about that later on in the show. No, it's left me a little bit. Yeah, I think I'm ready to move off from him, Najee. He didn't really show me enough in last night's game, which was a bit of a shame.
Does he convince you, Lee?
No. I thought he did okay for what really felt like a pre-season game with a little bit more quality. I actually found it to be an entertaining game because the pressure was off.
It was.
I was just enjoying watching it.
It's a bit fun.
As you've said, I mean, he had the fumble, then the pick, and he nearly almost had another pick after the pick.
Yeah.
So it could have been a fumble pick. He's definitely got a decent arm on him. His decision making is debatable, but like Najee said, I think I agree with Najee. I'd like to see Tanner Mordecai play because he looked quite good in pre-season from what we saw, and as I remember, Brock Purdy looked quite good in pre-season. We all wanted to see him play, so yeah, I wouldn't have minded seeing Tanner Mordecai. Matt Mayer has talked about us possibly bringing in a quarterback in the draft. Obviously, we've got Tanner there. If we're going to do that, I would imagine potentially either or both of Brandon Allen and Josh Dobbs are gone.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah, because veterans are expensive. It's so much easier to have a rookie.
Yeah. That's the
Well,
thing.
not all of them. Not all of them.
That's true.
There's a certain quarterback that Kyle likes that could be very cheap, but he's getting paid by another team.
That's true.
Yeah, but he's only got one knee, so.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins.
So I kind of agree with that to some extent. I can understand why I'd want to bring somebody in of Kirk Cousins' quality. However, I think that'd be a huge mistake. It'd be a bad idea because everybody knows what Kyle thinks of him. That puts added pressure on Purdy, and he doesn't need it.
Yeah.
Get your bingo cards out, though. We started the off-season with mentions of Kirk Cousins, but I must say, 49ers quarterback.
Jimmy G and Kirk Cousins mentioned in
and Trey Lance. We got them all in there.
Yeah.
But you can't wear number 5 and you can't wear number 10 for the Niners because seeing Josh Dobbs as number 5 in the flashbacks. But yeah, we're doing well in the off-season, chaps. Quarterback controversy. Slip those headlines. We mentioned all of them.
I was watching Red Zone and I caught myself cheering for Trey Lance, and then I just it's the Cowboys. What am I doing?
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah,
I was going to say.
I was like,
the big
come
star
on,
gave it away.
I was hoping he'd get that touchdown pass. I got it. I don't want to be uncharitable to a guy who it hasn't worked out for. But there we go. And it's not like he's been unprofessional at any point of it. But anyway, he's for someone else. I think the backup quarterback might well be a talking point. I am surprised with Purdy being young that we haven't gone for the kind of veteran, the Andy Dalton type of player, journeyman who's been around the league. That's what I'd like to see from a backup, someone who has actually got the experience. Whereas they did it with Darnold, even though he played longer. They did it with Josh Dobbs. They asked him, what has Purdy taught you? I want the backup quarterback position to be the other way around. What are they adding to Purdy's game in terms of a veteran? Like Andy Dalton's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. But a guy who's
I do think that's why Brian Greasy take his job. Yeah, but I do think that's why Brian Greasy is kind of it to Brock, isn't it? Because he's not that old, and he did play football at quite a high level. So it's I get it. You want somebody that can definitely compete if needed, but also I agree with you. Somebody like Joe Flacco or Andy Dalton, something like that would be really good to have on a team because they know You know, they can come in and win you a game or two if you need it.
Or at least
Josh
not
Dobbs,
lose you the game, isn't
at
it?
least
So,
not lose you, but they can definitely win you a few games. Josh Dobbs, I'm just not sure.
yeah.
Not from what I saw yesterday.
Yeah.
Again, one
Yeah.
game, it's difficult. With
You know-
backups everywhere, it's difficult, isn't
You
it?
know who's coming? Jameis Winston.
I mean, like, I love James. Well, the person isn't
No.
great. The
Turnover
QB's
machine.
job, all right, but
Turnover
as a person,
machine.
maybe.
Anyway,
The Discord
so
will be
that-
electric. Imagine the gifs and memes between now and meaningful football law. We worry about that in
Yeah.
September.
Yeah, sure.
So I don't know if you've heard, but the New York Jets are potentially going to interview Brian Greasy for the head
Yeah,
coaching
we
position.
did hear that.
for the head coaching position. Wow.
For the head coaching
Yeah,
position.
yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
yeah, it's a bit annoying.
surely everyone should just not touch the Jets.
No, that's
Surely
I said.
everybody
I
knows.
said on Discord. That's exactly where you want to go because you're gonna get fired after a year. You sign a 5-year contract. Coach's contract are guaranteed unless you take something else. You work 1 year, you get paid 5, and you get so much money. And there's no pressure. Like you can't do worse. It's very difficult to do worse.
I remember actually last week Lee was talking about he had an interview lined up. I'm beginning to wonder if it's. Ah.
God, imagine Lee
Anyway,
and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I'm a glutton for punishment.
Enough of the Jets and Joshua Dobbs and backup quarterbacks. Let's talk about second half and fourth quarter collapses because it's everybody's favourite subject. Paul, this one you started this one off, so you've got to run with it.
I mean, I predicted the Niners to score 24 points. I'm getting my
did.
brownie
Well done.
points in. However, at half time, I was sat there thinking, this game's 2017. There's no way my prediction's coming true. And I was right. I just didn't think we'd collapse as spectacularly in the second half. Like you've said, it was a preseason game. It was meaningless. I did enjoy the game last night. I enjoyed the Discord. But John Chapman shared a tweet. We've allowed teams to score against us in the fourth quarter every single game this season.
Every game.
That's just absolutely diabolical. It is disgraceful. And that definitely needs to change. I thought when you told us to limit it to 2 points, I thought we've got to talk about the second half collapse. I mean, Fred Warner's come out and said, the defence wasn't good enough. I've been poor, and it was nice leadership from Fred. There's a lot of issues on the play column, but it was just like we've seen this movie 11, 12 times this season, haven't we, chaps? And I just thought there'll be a lot of talk about how we put it right, but I just wanted to get your thoughts on it, basically. And I know Lee had that as one of his talking points as well.
Yeah, Lee, your chance.
Yeah, so a little known fact, but I actually sent a gift over to Santa Clara for one of the coaches. I sent a box of nails, and by the looks of it, Sorensen hammered the last one into his own coffin last night in the fourth quarter. I mean, it's hard to be upset, or it's hard to be happy when your team collapses in the fourth quarter. But to me, I was over the moon because to me, that's got to be the final nail in the coffin. And the reason I'm wearing my Shanahan hoodie tonight is because this is such an important week for Shanahan. He has to make the right decisions. And I think everybody is aligned on what those decisions are. Get rid of Sorensen, get rid of Schneider, potentially even get rid of Staley, because he's been a complete and utter waste of time as well. So it's an important week. And luckily enough, I think Sorensen made one of those decisions a lot easier last night, the way we collapsed against the Cardinals team that over the last 4 or 5 weeks has been pretty poor. They've been in free fall, just the same as what we have.
Slight mitigating factor is that obviously we seem to be running out of players on both sides of the ball. I think we lost Huff, we lost Mustafa by the second half.
Rendor after the first play.
It looked like the preseason game, yeah. But particularly on the defensive side, it was who on earth's left. On the Discord, we're going, who's number this, who's number that, because we just didn't know who was playing.
Steady on there. Don't become the talking sense mind.
No,
it's not what we need at the end of the season.
It's not going to be enough. But I could see the collapse because basically the Cardinals kept all of their starters on the field up until that final sort of drive, didn't they? Up until the final few minutes.
And that was the difference.
They wanted to make a statement.
You
know. And
we've been the bully, haven't we? Yeah, we've been the bully.
It's a divisional game. I've got no problem with them racking up the score
and
getting personal achievements and personal yardage and touchdowns. What's the solution then, Najee?
Well, I think getting rid of Sorensen and or Staley is definitely probably a good idea. It's clear you can't go from being one of the best team in the fourth quarter to being literally the worst team in the fourth quarter. If like the only thing that's changed between last year and this year is the DC and the culture, so around there. So yeah, that's got to go, and you got to go. It's crazy that we're here talking about DC when last year was such a point of contention, and then we did make some changes, and and we went happy, and then it's always careful what you wish for, but unfortunately we were much better last year, despite Wilkes' defense not gelling apparently. So I agree. It's hard to evaluate this particular game because we're left with one on earth is number 48 or whatever, 45 or whatever. Oh, Tashin Gibson is in the game.
Yeah,
What's
that was
going
class
on?
in Discord last night. Nadji was
It's
like, who's 43? Gibson? Who?
Yeah, so what is going on here? But also the blueprint of how the game went is exactly the same way the game went 17 all the time, 16 all the time before that. It's just like there's something clearly very fundamentally wrong, and nothing has changed either. Because I don't know if you remember, but just before the bye, I said this is the time where Saleh and Demeco Ryan started ramping up and getting better, and we got no better, maybe even worse as time got on, but definitely nothing changed throughout that time, and we didn't get better. Nothing really happened. Fred Warner got worse. Bossa disappeared. I know he was injured, but yeah, and it's just I know we're missing Greenlow, which is a huge loss, but not good enough. Definitely not good enough, and one of the problem why we ended up the season we ended, and we'll talk more about all of it in more details later. But
do you think it's fair to say, chaps, that the wide 9 scheme that we've been so reliant on, as you've mentioned there, Nadji, Greenlaw, that in the middle, because teams have exploited that gap, teams have attacked us in the middle, and he who shall not be named was terrible. And I just think, like you said, Sorensen hasn't, like good coaches adapt, and he hasn't adapted all season. He's stuck to that. This is our scheme. This is how we're playing. Yeah. And again, like you said, that Cardinals back up when he ran through, and a lot of people argued he should have knelt at the 1 yard line to end the game, which would have been merciful. If I was him, I'm doing exactly the same. Score my first NFL touchdown.
You do that if it's a 1-score game, but
it was just so easy. That play itself, you watch back the broadcast, and like you said, some people are playing for their futures. But I just think maybe whoever we get in as coordinator maybe needs to look at that wide 9 scheme, because we might not have the players for that, Nadji, so we might need to.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? As soon as we lost, obviously Armstead is gone, so something is different, and you hope you can replace it. But then we lose Hargrave, and then Bosa is out, and then Floyd was not performing very well. He who should be known is definitely not as good as Dre Greenlow, and you have to look at what you have and adapt your scheme to what you have. And this is coaching 101. It's very difficult to come up with a scheme and say to people, here, this is what we're doing. And if the players aren't good at it, it's just not going to work. You kind of have to, it's malleable thing. You have to be clever about it and put your best player in the best position. And it's definitely not what we've done this year. And it shows.
It's been quite a vanilla, safe defense. There hasn't been a lot of blitzes. The turnovers have just dried up. I think since the bye week, we've hardly had any at all, and that's just we just seem to have become very.
Yeah, I think they mentioned one of those stats on the
went from +3 to -10 or something.
I'm sure they also said we haven't had an interception since week 7.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, there's also the fact that we're playing with a rookie, and Demo was a bit hurt, and we all know what happened to Mooney. So it's just, it wasn't a good season. Let's just say that, and let's move on.
I mean, there is enough on that, and I think there's 2 decisions Shanahan needs to make. It's not just who gets fired. That's the easy bit. It's who do you replace them with, and making that right decision. So we're not here again in 365 days saying the same stuff.
But the good news, chaps.
The good news is I'm available.
However, what I was going to say,
Jets turned you down.
Last few years, we've been at the back of the queue for the coaching hires, where obviously we now have, as you said, Gareth, some important decisions to make, and we are at the front of the queue, and we're an attractive location for people to come to. I mean, we wanted Ulbrich at the start of the season Jets being the Jets said no, could have got a draft pick. Now they're letting him go. So if Salah doesn't pan out, and I don't think it will,
No.
I would love to see Salah come back, but I think he's still got aspirations to be a head coach, or he ends up in Green Bay. But there's names kicking about out there, so who knows who the next guy will be?
Do you think I'm reading a lot into this, but do you think some of the other head coaches around the league we've seen are having a lot of success by letting their coordinators coordinate and delegating and giving a huge amount of responsibility to coordinators and getting the best out of them? Detroit, other teams. Do you think Shanahan does that? Do you think someone like hugely experienced, like a Flores or a Fangio? I don't know that they'd want to come and be under Shanahan. Is that unfair?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Unfortunately, I think we've run out of understudies. The Shanahans are they're all kind of scattered and gone across the
We
league.
got Salah and Ryans were the good ones because
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
it. On DC, we've only ever employed from inside, other than
From
Wilkes,
inside, yeah.
and that didn't work.
And there is a name which I'm very surprised he hasn't come up. But Korocek has been with us for a very long time and has been.
I don't think he wants it. I think it's been talked about.
Yeah,
before.
maybe he doesn't, but he has been coaching a D-line that was absolutely amazing for years on end. And I like his passion and the way he does things. And he's on the sideline. It looks like the kind of guy that we want Saleh, the Ryan's energy on the sideline kind of guy. So maybe him is shot next time. But yeah, I don't know. It's maybe sometimes you're just unlucky, and this one didn't pan out, and maybe Carl's got another understudy and around the corner, and he's going to come and do a stellar job. We'll see what happens. But I do agree with you. I think Fangio, the old guard, might know one, although they're all friends with his dad, so maybe I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't think defensive coordinator is such a problem. I think those guys would come because, as Paul said, we are an attractive proposition for a DC to come in. I think it's if he does decide to go to OC, then there's a lot of people might turn him down. If he was to go external, obviously he let Clint Kubiak do all the play calling last night.
Very unusual.
And this is the first time in the regular season that he's allowed that. And
he's listening to the Podley.
I was going to say, Gareth, I was like, that was going to be one of my talking points.
Your weekly conference call with Jed is finally getting traction, Paul.
Yeah, bearing fruit. Yeah, so I think that might be an issue, but obviously he is learning now. I think he's now realised, what, I could probably do with somebody else calling the players. So hopefully it's a little bit of self-reflection on the season about where he could have been better.
Yeah. Anyway, enough of that as well. One last talking point. You've got Purcell, Paul. I picked all of the rookies as something positive, but let's start with Ricky P, because he's had a couple of good games, but this was obviously a game where he's WR1, if there is such a thing, particularly when JJ had his early bath. Paul, what can you want to say about our boy?
6 catches, 69 yards, and another touchdown for number 14. He looked everything that I thought he would when we drafted him. Obviously, it's well documented that he recovered from such a horrific. And it was nice to see him poke fun at that. I don't know if you've seen the celebration where he pretended to kind of like clutch his chest and then they did a little dance. But I saw a few people in the group calling out Purcell as a bit of a bust, a bit of a wasted draft pick. He hadn't quite been what they'd expected. Now, again, you come into this fandom with your own expectations, and he was, our first round pick. But for me, he wasn't really targeted at the start of the season, and he's got better and better, like you want to see from a rookie the last 2 weeks.
He was on IR till the bye week, wasn't he? So
the game before, 141-yard game, and again last night, he didn't put a foot wrong. He looked solid. The potential was there, which is why I'm excited. I think he'll be a good complement to the wide receiver room in 2025. I think he'll get more opportunities. Kyle Shanahan kind of doesn't like to trust the rookies. He's had no choice but to trust him, and I think it'll stand him in good stead. So I was happy with Slick Rick. What about you, Nadji? Were you happy with 14 last night?
Yeah, very. I mean, we briefly talked about the Detroit game on the last pod, and I was very happy with the breakout performance and being able to see him put that kind of performance on the field. And just so you can go back, I mean, no, he can do this. He can play at quite a high level, and we can rely on him, and we can target him 10 times, and he'll deliver. And seeing him doing it again this very next week is amazing. That's exactly what you want out of your rookie. He didn't let down because the game was meaningless. He was having fun, and I think him and Kittle seem to have a bit of a connection, which is absolutely what you want. Yeah, it does raise questions though, because we do have a lot of wide receivers now. But he's on his rookie deal, so it doesn't count
Good
too much.
questions, Nadji. Good
Yeah,
questions.
loads of questions, but we'll see. But as much as I agree, we're probably going to get rid of one of them. I don't think it'll be Debo because it'll be too expensive. But it does
Not
raise
if
a
he's
question.
traded.
So yeah, if
Well,
he's traded,
no.
it's not expensive because it's the
It
other
is,
team that
it's
takes
still-
from the wage salary.
So before you
No,
go down that rabbit hole,
some dead money that we will
yeah,
have
it
to
was
pay
all
no
in the
matter what.
Discord. So
Yeah, it all
the-
depends on what the guarantee is.
The stats, though, before we go down that rabbit hole, 400 receiving yards this season, 3 touchdowns off 31 catches. So
That's
for
pretty
me,
good.
what more
Not
did you
bad.
want to see from
That's
a
pretty
rookie
good.
receiver that was well down on the depth chart? So I'm not calling people out. I'm just saying a few weeks ago, I'd saw the comments and I thought, okay, bit interesting. And it's kind of tongue-in-cheek because he's bounced back. Again, it's as if he's plugged into the show, Gareth, or he's been on the chat and he's seen everything that's going on. But yeah, it's interesting. Like you said, Najee, not everyone will be here next year, but I don't think Debo's gone, Lee. I think we keep Debo for another year. Personally, I think he's too expensive to move on from.
That's
Possibly. I mean, I said it the same thing myself earlier on in the season, but I'm not so sure. We're carrying a lot of cap space into next season, so there is the availability to do stuff. And if we can get a second or a third round pick for him, I think we move him.
We'll see.
We will see. That's for something
Plenty of
else.
time to talk. Yeah.
Beyond Ricky Purcell, I was going to mention basically the entire draft class was on show, and we had possibly, they've only had 1 year, but it could turn out to be our best draft class. It needs to be there after the last two have been pretty underwhelming, Brock Purdy aside. So finally, after calling for it for weeks, Jacob Cowing got a run out at wide receiver.
Yeah.
I think caught all his targets, looked pretty tidy, I think, as perhaps your third wide receiver down the line. Garendo's obviously out injured again, but he's been decent this season. Pooney, I think the back-to-back penalties have probably cost him Rookie of the Year for the 49er Faithful Awards. Sorry about that, Lee, but there it is. I thought Renardo Green had an excellent game.
Yeah,
3 passes defended. He's beginning to look just that better and better. I remember Demo going through it, where you think the guy's good, then you start thinking this guy's really good. I know he's doesn't get a lot, but Tatum Bethune made a couple of plays. He's been reasonable, I think, on special teams. Cowing has been okay on special teams. That's our draft class. They're pretty much all there, all 6 of them, contributing and contributing well. I hope there isn't a drop off. Unfortunately, I can see someone like Cowing will pick another wide receiver and he'll drop down the depth chart and we'll never see him. But I think Purcell, Pooney, Green for sure, and Garendo are going to be with us for sort of 3 or 4 years.
We'll see about Garendo. I think it's a little too. It reminds me a little bit of Elijah Mitchell, unfortunately. It seems to be very good and quite kind of what we need, but you can't just play a game and be injured for free and then come back and be injured
but we'd have no. We'd have no. Does that apply to CMC?
Look at the positives with Garendo, Najee. The last player watch was Ronnie Bell. Garendo was a little bit better, so I'll pick again next year. So that's the only way.
Is that enough on the Cardinals game and the actual football part of the season?
Well, you forgot Mustafa, of course.
Of course, I did. I didn't have him written down.
How dare you? By far the best rookie this year.
I can already see the Discord going mental, Gareth, that you didn't mention Mustafa.
You're right. Najee saved me now from any.
Nothing else to talk about is the chaps.
No, not really.
Nope,
we've talked briefly about coaching changes. I think we've probably seen the very strong rumours that those people are certainly.
Well, for the people that do not, that on social media that don't know, but Kyle has pushed his press conference later this week, which usually means something's going to happen, and it needs to happen before he does his press conference. So he's giving himself a little time. That's usually what it means. Not
Everyone knows
necessarily what it means, but
if he doesn't fire Schneider, he should get fired himself. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And I can confirm it doesn't mean that Kyle is joining us on the live on Wednesday.
I mean,
I wish that was true. You never know. However,
after this year, you never know. But yeah, no. So apparently it's going to be Wednesday or Thursday. So keep an eye for that. And
it'll be 9:10 on Wednesday, Nadji.
As soon as
after
the
we
live
finish
ends.
the show, and we've talked an hour about these coaching changes, and that's when it'll be, people. Set your clock.
100%. But yeah,
who do you want as special teams coach then?
Anyone.
Take us through the no.
Kev
Can
Snowman
name a special teams coach? I must admit,
No.
I can't.
No.
I can't.
Just anyone.
Some other
I
coaching.
couldn't even tell you who's got the best special teams. There'll be a stat out there somewhere that says who's the best special teams.
Well, hopefully this is the last time we ever have to see this version of our special teams, because it can't get any worse. Famous last words.
Yeah, right.
Nadji and I talked about it. Moody, do you think he's gone? We talked about it on the last show.
Yeah. He missed another one. Come on.
So I loved that he got that first one. I thought, great. And then when he missed the second one, you just like...
Disclaimer, I thought he'd scored the second one, and I dropped a gif in there about redemption. And then I was like, oh, hang on, he's missed it. He caught off the gif. Quickly delete that one. And I was like, oh, God, I can't defend it. I can't defend it.
Somebody shared something about the holder being different and it being a contributing factor.
No, I won't take any of it. No, this is a meaningless game. There's absolutely zero pressure. It's inside a dome in the middle of the desert. It's warm. There is absolutely no excuse to miss anything. And you know your job's on the line. You've just missed 2 and a PAT the game before. There's no excuse. I
tell you what's been interesting, though. I've got a few rival fans follow me on social media. Their team's made the playoffs. You'd think they'd be all about their team. They're focusing very much on the pick we wasted on Jake Moody.
That's
and I was kicking the shoes. And I'm like, chaps, we're out the playoffs. Focus on your own team. But then I realised we are the bigger franchise, so I can see why they're following us. And
we live rent-free in so many people's heads.
Yeah, we do.
As I recall, I said that was one of the worst draft picks we've ever made, and Nadji said, "Are you crazy?"
All right,
Jake
Smug.
Moody's the money.
You don't need you
Money
coming in
Moody.
here with attitude. I'm telling you.
No, I think you said that about Wish.
I'm keeping receipts.
Yeah, you said about Wish.
We talked on this show about how Kyle's a busy man because he's doing or trying to do 2 jobs, and we think we suffer on both of them because of that. I've got this theory that special teams is it's the thing that it has got to give in the fact that he just doesn't have time to be head coach and OC, and that special teams doesn't interest him, and that's why he spent the high draft pick on, first of all, a punter, which is just like, just give me a punter so I never have to worry about it. And again, it's just give me a kicker and I never have to worry about it. And this time it's not worked out. And we shall all look forward to the gripping kicker battle.
So to try and spin some positivity on this, the best ever kicker in I think the history of this league, Justin Tucker, has had a horrible season.
And loads of kickers have had a horrible season.
So it is completely possible that Moody stays and he nails every single kick next year. So,
someone said he was going to Canton.
Yeah, exactly. I did say that. Yeah. So let's wait and see.
On his holidays to visit the museum.
Ultimately, I think
attack Nadji Shaw. Cash needs to see him, buddy. I mean, we're bald on this show, but my God, Lee and Nadji and Lee and Gareth have come for you tonight, buddy.
Anyway.
It's all
in leash. We talked about it already.
Enough of that. It's Black Monday. I don't know if there's been any other news while we've been recording. Jared Mayo didn't last an hour, I think, after the game. Doug Peterson's gone this morning as well. Who else do you think is going? I thought McDaniel would go for Miami, but apparently he's been told he's safe.
Yeah, they're keeping him.
I thought he would get the chop there. I got to say, perhaps unfairly, but I thought he would have, given the expectation. And once again, they've fallen very flat. Who? Anyone else you think is going to get binned?
It's not a head coach, but I think the Bengals have sacked their defensive coordinator, which surprised me
Okay.
because he seemed to be one of the more highly sought after ones. But
Well,
yeah, just double check
it
that.
cost them
so.
their season. I think it's with Joe Burrow's historically great season and Jamar Chase getting
It was the Chiefs. It was our Chiefs' fault that the Bengals didn't get there. Gareth, have you not been on NFL
Yeah,
UK today?
yeah, the meltdown there. I see the Seahawks fired their OC. Glad to see that even though Pete Carroll has gone, they're maintaining their usual process of throwing somebody under the bus.
Yeah. And Trent Baalke still has a job for some reason, which eludes me.
But the fans have been flying a plane around the Jaguar Stadium with the banner on it saying "Fire Baalke."
Oh, it's good to have been
that might have been a
through
49ers fan that did that, actually.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I don't know that many other people are actually going to go. I think, touch wood, the Cowboys will keep McCarthy.
I think they are. My friend Chris texted me earlier and he said, unluckily, it looks like we're keeping him. So he's not very happy about it, but it looks like that he's keeping him. So unfortunately,
I'm quite surprised about that. I honestly, because he's out of contract as well.
Yeah.
So this is Jerry Jones.
He doesn't have a contract for next season.
Yeah, it's going to give him the biggest contract.
I was going to say, yeah. It'd be like that.
Yeah, I mean, he gave it to Dak Prescott, didn't he?
Yeah.
Though apparently he didn't know that Cooper Rush needed to play the game to earn his contract incentive. Apparently he didn't know that.
Yeah, right. Ball. Yeah. I call ball on that one.
He's saved up.
Poorly ran franchise, Najee. Just the difference between a good franchise and poorly ran one, isn't it?
I'm surprised Arthur Smith has still got a job after the Cousins debacle, but we'll see what happens in Atlanta.
That is a fair point, especially with the way the season ended. That was a good game, that, on Red Zone.
Yeah. I mean, Penix is good. If anybody's watched college football, I don't understand why they didn't start him earlier.
These rabbit holes are great.
Because they spent 180 million on Kirk Cousins. So
yeah,
that's why.
But then drafted Penix. Crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But who knows? Maybe they thought he was gone by then. Maybe they tried to trade back or something, and suddenly you're in the spot, and you think, "Hang on, he's still there. He's top of our board." Who knows? Sadly, very sadly, I think there's a somber moment here where we're going to have to talk about the score prediction. Look at that!
He's not even finished a sentence, and the thing is,
I knew what was covered.
I am nothing if not consistent. Go on then, Lee. Look, it's your moment to shine, Lee. You talk us through.
Let's talk about it. Congratulations.
Okay, so a good 14 points back from the top of the table is Paul in fifth place. Gareth has got my favourite number, 69.
Indeed. Everyone's favourite number.
Nice.
Najee's rocking the Staley with 74. And I'm top of the awesome foursome with 77.
You've
Pooney, the Punisher.
It
was meant to be.
That's true, actually.
Well done, Lee. You snatched it at the back end of the season there, didn't you?
So congrats. Well done. I will say this is a hell of a lot less points than we scored last year. That's about 20 points less than we scored.
Yeah, that's because we
because we lost so many games.
And we won a load of games last year.
That's very true.
That's the difference.
We just have to predict better, I guess. See what it goes. Special mention to the faithful as a whole, who actually beat all of us by quite a margin.
So Lee is technically second.
Lee's technically second.
Technically second.
No, he's not. He's won the trophy.
With the four of us, I'm first.
First one.
What is surprising? So what is surprising, going what Najee's just said there? Last season there was only 2 points separated, first and last.
Mm.
Yeah,
whereas this season there's 14 points separated first and last.
That's because there was
a common theme.
Little dirty points last year.
I was going to say,
very little in dirty points.
So
I think it's actually a good insight into how the season's gone, and the fact that we didn't score nowhere near as many points as we thought we would on a weekly basis, and our offense was kind of dysfunctional at best, and then that defense collapse. So I was in it pretty much every halftime. I was like, oh, I can get this, and then nope. It's never even close. But it's just been fun, right? This is where we do this. We have banter, we laugh at each other, and it makes the pod a little bit more interesting. And some of the people
Something's
on
got to.
Discord joined us. I do have the table from Discord, so
Bring it up. I was going to say
we can
we
share
should.
this.
I don't think we've said a huge thank you to Kev Williams for running the podcast faithful, setting up the spreadsheet and the wonderful animation of how the leadership
Yeah, that's cool.
has changed, because it hasn't changed since I think week 3. Anthony
Yeah.
Folger has run away with it. So well done, Anthony.
It has,
he has finished first with I think 90 something odd points. Is it with
97?
97. Way
He's doing a Nick Bosa.
ahead. Way ahead of Kev Williams himself, who's second, and Rajan Bathin, who is third by a mere point. Tight.
By a mere point, and
See, the most surprising one is Chris Wood. Chris Wood coming in at 5th there with 81 points. How's he had time to predict when he's been doing all these memes for the full season?
You know what Chris's problem is?
He just doesn't sleep ever. That's what.
Do you know what his problem is, Nadji? He lets his head rule his heart in the actual other predictor league, but then he listens to the pod and he listens to me and Nadji and Gareth be so positive, and he thinks, screw your dirty points, Gowland. And he goes with us. So Chris, sorry fella, we've cost you a double championship win. And everyone who's below Michael, congratulations for not succumbing to the dirty points, because you are the true winners. And Lee, as you said, you're not the champion yet, son.
How do you know?
You don't get this till the Super Bowl, apparently.
I've got the ring.
So,
I've got the ring.
To be honest, chaps, I'm surprised he wasn't knocking on my door today. I've been expecting Gowland getting the trophy off me.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No,
thanks everyone for playing along all season. It's been really, really fun. And we actually have some news.
Stop.
Yes,
the fun does not stop. We're going to draw a line under the 49ers score predictions, because that's the season done. But people take an interest in the playoffs. We're going to keep the score predictions going throughout the playoffs. We're going to pick, or actually, the wheel of positivity is going to pick an AFC game and an NFC game. So each of the playoff game weeks, the wildcard weekend coming up, then the divisional, then obviously the championship games, there will be an AFC and an NFC game to predict. Kev has assured me he can work his magic on the prediction spreadsheet and set it up so that we can do 2 games per game week. Us, the podcasters, we are going to join everybody else on the same prediction sheet, and we will have a little competition and take it through to the Super Bowl. Same rules: predict the scores, predict the winner, get the same points. No prizes. Same with Anthony. You win nothing but our admiration and jealousy.
Yep. And a mention on the pod as well.
And a mention on the pod.
That's a prize in itself. But it's like the NBA Cup, this, isn't it? You know, that meaningless trophy to play for. But
in the middle.
It's going to be good crack. It's going to be good.
It's going to be good. All right, shall we spin for the AFC?
Go for it.
Let's go for it. But yeah, so head to Discord if you're listening to this and you want to participate.
Oh, it's Ravens Steelers.
Oh, it's Ravens Steelers. That's probably the hardest one to.
I'm not going to lie, I wanted the Chargers just to see Nadji's face.
Yeah, I wanted the Chargers as well.
That would have been pretty fun, yeah.
And I think that will be a good game, Chargers game. I think that's going to be a tough one.
I agree. So yeah, Kev, don't forget. So we're going Ravens Steelers rematch, and then here's for the NFC. So I don't know how it's going to work, but it's usually a Google sheet, and you enter everything. The one thing I'm going to say is, after this, Eagles Packers.
Packers.
There we go.
But I think, do you guys remember what you predicted for the NFC Championship game? I think we all went for Niners, didn't we? Do you remember who we were up against?
Was it Niners Lions?
I'm pretty sure
I think I went Niners Lions.
Yeah, sounds like
that's
what I would have said.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I wasn't there. I didn't do it. I was away.
I think the Packers are done. I think they've
Jordan loves
into the playoffs. Yeah,
Jordan loves her.
And they lost Watson, the receiver. I think is unlikely to play. So yeah.
Well, there you go. So yes, head to Discord. There will be a Google link. Maybe we can put it on Facebook as well when we get it, and then The one thing that's really important is you try and write your name the exact same way, because otherwise Excel or whatever Kev uses, which I think is Google Sheets, will create two different entries, and then your score won't get added at the end. So you'll have two different entries on the table. So if you put capitals or don't put however you want to write it, just write it always the same. It makes things a lot easier for Kev
Good
to
shout.
manage.
Yeah, good shout. Good shout. So, without us there, what you're going to stick your necks out? Who do you reckon we're going to see in the championship games, and who's going to win them? Lee, your prize for winning is to stick your neck out first. I want
the
NFC
NFC
and NFC championship games and their winners.
NFC, I think it'll be the Lions, Eagles. And what really pains me is I've got this awful feeling it's going to be the Eagles that win. Because I know the Lions can ship points, and I think the Eagles have got the better defense out to them. I think it'll be a Lions-Eagles NFC championship game. AFC, now, I don't actually think the Chiefs will get to the AFC championship this season.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be the Ravens-Bills.
Good game. I like it.
If that can work out. I need to have a look at the bracket, because I don't even know if that'll work out.
I've got the bracket here if you want.
Technically, everything could work out at the moment, couldn't they? So
everything. At the moment, anything, because Ravens and Bills are 2 and 3, so it is possible.
Yeah, I was going to say, because the way I look at it, if the Ravens
they might play each other next round. Actually, if Ravens and Bills win, they will play each other next round. So I don't think it's possible, actually.
Yeah, it's always possible.
I've actually got a feeling.
So
I've actually got a feeling that the Steelers might turn the Ravens over. Like I said earlier on before we start the show. Yeah,
they totally can.
I hope
Russell Wilson
it's going to be reflected in your pick.
Russell Wilson is no stranger to the playoffs.
Well, there's no prize at stake, is there?
Pride.
You know, if you won that as well, double, that's when the trophy would be getting ordered, and the photo I shared in the group chat will come real if you win something else.
For sure.
Are you up next, Paul?
I agree with El Presidente for the NFC. I think it's going to be Lions, Eagles. I'm looking forward to that, and unfortunately, I do think the Eagles get the better of the Lions, because the Lions' defense. The AFC... I don't want to see the Chiefs. I'm sorry to my friends who support the Chiefs. I'm bored of it now. Anyone but the Chiefs on the AFC. But I'd like to see maybe the Bills get there. Obviously, the Chargers for Nagy. Obviously, soft spot there with Coach Harbaugh. But to stick my neck out at the moment, I think it's going to be Chiefs, Bills on the other side. And I think it'll be Lions, Eagles on that side.
Yeah.
Nagy?
I'm going to go with my heart. I'm going to try and wish it into existence. I'm going to say Commanders, Lions in the NFC, because that would be a really nice NFC championship to watch. And then, because then I don't really care if either of those teams goes into a Super Bowl. That'd be really cool to see. And then I really want the Texans to do well, just because they make a big soft spot there. But I think it'll be Chargers, Bills. I think that's possible, and it'll be a great game too, although in a cold.
Well, wouldn't that be a story for Jim Harbaugh? Getting to the championship game 4 out of 5 seasons he's coached in the NFL.
Yeah,
and then coming back into the NFL after winning the national college, whatever the title is. I don't do college football.
National championship. Yeah.
Of course, there could be a Harbaugh bowl at some point during those playoffs. So.
Yeah,
Before you give your answer, Gareth, I've seen a horrific one where if it's the Vikings, Bills, that'd be one team would go 0-5 in Super Bowls and one team would win the third.
No.
So, in a way, we all talk about a different winner. That kind of, could you imagine if whichever?
That would be quite good, actually. That'd be amazing. Bills Vikings would be a good game.
I think they'd take it. Both teams would take it right now, wouldn't they? So.
Imagine Sam Darnold
MVP, Super Bowl winner.
Oh my God.
We'd never hear the end of that. Honestly,
No.
You'd never hear the end of it.
He's just going to blow up.
Yeah.
Your stay would be straight round, wouldn't he?
God. Oh,
Well, funny enough, I was talking to Steve about this. I think it was a couple of days ago. It might Yeah, it was Saturday. Saturday we were talking about this, and he turned around and says, "Did we get Darnold from you?" I said, "Yeah, he played for us last season. He was a free agent, and he signed him." So you hadn't realised he was at the 49ers last season.
Right, yes. I
What-
don't think
Right.
many people did.
One of
didn't
our
know.
bold predictions would come true. We talked about seeing a Super Bowl winner when we were at the London watch party. We just didn't specify which one did
fun.
we.
It's fun. I think the Bucks could be quite dangerous. I don't, they've got a bit of playoff
They've got nothing
experience.
to lose, sure.
They've got the coaching. They've got decent defense. And either them or the Commanders are going to get through to the next round. I think the Vikings, once again, they've done one of those seasons where the record is better than they actually are. I think they got a little bit found out. So I'm going to go for Lions Bucks in the NFC Championship game, because even saying that team from Philadelphia makes me feel slightly nauseous. And the other side, I think, is going to be Chiefs Ravens, and it's probably, I think, a Chiefs Lions Super Bowl. There's just the inevitability about the bloody Chiefs. At least that suddenly they're playing well. Last game aside, obviously, and conspiracy theories.
I mean, they
aside.
had no one in.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see.
We will see. We will see. But yeah,
I like that segment, Gareth. Yeah.
Good. Well, there we go. Sticking our necks out.
It is kind of nice to enter January with absolutely no pressure, and we can just enjoy the playoffs.
It's a bit of a relief.
Yeah, it's been the last few years have been a very, very stressful time for us at this time.
The roller coaster's been brutal.
Yeah,
It's been brutal to us. Imagine what it's been to the players.
Yeah,
I'd
kinda
never
nice.
want it, and I'd never say it, but I can't help thinking some of those players might be glad that they're booking
they're done and on holiday.
a
Well,
week
Debo
on
kind
the
of said
beach.
so, didn't he?
So-
Debo said they're losing in the Super Bowl, and I think you pointed it out. I think I missed my first pod in 2 years. In the last few weeks, Tracy said the same. That you lads must be relieved, was the word she used. That you don't have to plan the playoff watch party, then the Super Bowl watch party, and you can watch the NFL and kind of enjoy it. Now, obviously, we'd all love to be there. Kyle Shanahan himself has said he's looking forward to kind of the off-season being a bit more relaxing, for want of a better word. But I do want to take this moment, Gareth, to say, Lee, I won't be coming to the Super Bowl watch party that you're arranging. However, I will arrange to meet up. I'll be a graceful loser, and I will hand you the trophy as Nadji handed it to me. We'll get a photo. We might even go live on Instagram, and I'm sure Lee will have some pre-prepared speech, and he'll relish in getting this in his hands, won't he, Nadji? Because this trophy that Nadji supplied is beautiful. I've looked after it well for you, Lee. But just to let everybody know, Lee will have this in his hands before the Super Bowl party. I promise.
I've just realised
I'll have to move one of my Gold Bar whiskies out the shelf there, so I can just sit there, just over my shoulder.
Such a hardship.
What a great honour.
I've just
we'll do a swap.
Just realised, if you hold the trophy up again, that was modelled on that's Bruce Forsyth, isn't it?
Hey, there was no expense spared on this trophy when Nadji
so much money. Pure gold. It's very heavy. Paul is very strong.
Prediction Cup winner.
It's the right colour. It is the right colour. So,
it is.
Shall we wrap this up? We're an hour in, but do you want to say anything in terms of season summaries? This was going to be your other talking point. We've got months to dissect it all, but I think, can we sum it up other than the words sort of disappointment? Can you sum it up in a sentence? Lee, kick us off. Oh no, Nadji, go on then.
It's worse than 2020. Was it? Yeah, worse than 2020. There we go. I think it's gonna be easier to swallow this one than last year.
Oh yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, last year we were the best team in the Super Bowl and we lost it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in terms of the way it sucked. It wasn't fun to watch, but I think this offseason is going to be a lot more enjoyable as well. Being part of the draft process and actually maturing is quite fun too.
Pick number 11
can't wait for that.
until we trade up.
Yeah, 11's good. 11's good. Did we pick Ayuk at 11? I think we did.
Patrick
No,
Willis.
I was
14,
like late 20s.
18, 20. No, we got
No, it was late.
Kinlaw
Oh,
about
I thought it was
Kinlaw.
28.
didn't we? Yeah.
That's right.
We,
Wasn't he
we got
28?
we got
Right.
McGlinchey about 11. I think.
Oh,
Do you remember it was that year where we had literally it was a
13.
coin toss
12 or
between
13.
us and the Raiders for
Oh,
the
yes.
Yeah.
for the
That's
pick
right.
because
The-
of
the
strength
last
of
time we
schedule,
picked number
everything's the
11.
same.
We picked Patrick Willis.
Patrick Willis.
So that was 2006.
Friend of the show.
Mm.
Friend of
Nice
the
plug
show.
there, Lee. Like it.
Yeah.
Come on,
Frus-
Paul, sum it up.
It's been lackluster, hasn't it? It's been frustrating. It's been disappointing. There's been highs. There's been lows. It's been a strange old season for the UK faithful. Everybody has stood firm. I've liked the engagement. I've liked the Discord. The season didn't go the way any of us said it would at the start of the season, and we apologise for that, but we will be back. We're all smiling. The Predictor League has kept things interesting, and the dirty points was all tongue-in-cheek. Nobody's fallen out. I've seen some comments on Discord, Garrett, that I thought I would clarify, but I would say lackluster is the word I attach to the 2024 49ers, buddy.
Also, it will reset expectation, which I think is really what this fan base really needed. We've been riding high for so long. I think it's going to do us good.
Yeah, I think I would sum it up with 2 words. Instantly forgettable.
I'm not going to lie.
won't.
I thought you were
We
going to
won't.
say predict better, and I was going to say I will predict better when the Niners win next year. That's what I thought you were going to say. I'm not going to lie.
It's a season too far. I think with hindsight, we should probably have made some tougher decisions in the last off season, and I think this was a season where we lost the identity we've had on both sides of the ball for the last couple of years, and that's something kind of intangible that we needed to capture back. We used to bully the crap out of people, and we've kind of rolled over in far too many games, and that is something that needs to change and will change. So I think that's probably it. Unless you've got anything else before I do my 15-minute monologue at the end.
Just a quick
really.
PSA.
PSA's
Remember,
go for it.
the year's going to be a Super Bowl meetup in Liverpool. I will give the name of the venue probably within the next week or so.
You mean
I can
Martin's
tell you,
Invest?
it's smack bang in the centre of Liverpool. So if you're looking for a hotel, get one in the centre. I'm looking at the Premier Inn Liverpool 1. That's a 5-minute walk away from the venue itself. So at the moment, we've got 29 confirmed as going. That's on and off Facebook. And we've got, I think, 54 who've said maybe. So
when the event is set up, I'm going to look. It's probably a no at the moment, but I'm going to see what I can do.
So on that note, Sarah will be putting together the local map that she does. And we are saying to people that if you can't get to Liverpool, I have seen some comments from our southern-based members. Feel free to arrange your own. As I've said, I'm not going to the one in Liverpool. I'm going down the road to Darlington because the team I coach for is having a watch party. And I've always said if the Niners aren't there,
there's
I'll
more
try
and more
do something more
pubs
local.
doing it.
Yeah,
there's
there's-
definitely
isn't it?
more.
They're all over the place. So.
I did
Super Bowl
chuckle.
parties are everywhere. Yeah.
A few people say that they're not coming because venues aren't child friendly. Unfortunately, the Super Bowl does start at 11 o'clock at night, so I think you'll struggle to find a child friendly venue. But as Lee said there, we will be sharing the details. And if you want to arrange your own, as we said before on the show, even if it's at your local pub and there's 3 or 4 of you, let us know.
That's
We'll
enough.
promote it. There might be
That's a
someone in your
meet-up.
area that decides that they want to come down and meet you face to face. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the playoffs anyway.
Yeah, and me, and I'm looking forward to have somebody to root for in the Super Bowl. I think was it a few years ago where we had the Eagles Chiefs. I didn't bother watching it. It just
it could be the Eagles.
I
Chiefs
know.
this
I
year.
really don't want
Yeah,
that.
no,
You know,
very much.
Don't jinx us.
everybody. You want somebody to root for, don't you? Or at least somebody you want to lose. In the
That's
Super
why
Bowl.
Commanders Lions. Come on, Commanders Lions, and then Texans Chargers. No, Texans Chargers just can't happen, can it? That would be good.
Northern Commanders Lions, but never
We
mind.
will be obviously continuing our shows in the off
We
season
will.
just because the Niners season is finished. So we will be sticking to a topic on a Wednesday We haven't got all the details at the moment. We've just kind of waited till the season limped to an end. Now it's been put to bed. We can put some plans in place, but we
Preview and review of the Pro Bowl, because we're in it.
Oh, of course. Wow.
Come on.
Flag football, baby. Yes.
The feast of football.
We'll see.
Anyway.
We
There we
won't-
go. Is that it for PSAs? There will be stuff going on as well, won't there? So
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
it.
get your mock drafts. Get your mock draft. Post
Oh,
them
yeah.
in the college or the Niners chat on Discord, and tell us who you want. Scatibu, for real. We want him 100%. He's amazing.
And don't worry, people. I'm seeing all those draft crushes that you want that I can't pronounce. It's okay. Laugh
It's all-
away.
It's all about getting
I
points.
may surprise a few people when we draft someone whose name you think I cannot pronounce, and my good friend Lee Gowland helps me, and I come on the first show, Carif, and I nail it word perfect. I'm making bold predictions, but all jokes aside, this is the best community in the NFL UK. The engagement has been great in an off-season. Discord's gone from strength to strength. The presence on social media is amazing, and it's great to see.
yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining me. It was good to have all four of us back, wasn't it? Thank you to everyone who stuck with us throughout the season, watching and listening to the show. We hope we've helped you along the way, because I think it's fair to say that you have helped us. Thanks to all the admins who help us run the group, and thanks to everybody on Discord and Facebook and Twitter that engages with the group and shares things and comments on things, and sends Paul messages at all hours of the day and night. Continue to do so. It's great. But it is you. It's the members that make this group what it is, more so than us. We just kind of help it along. And this is the best UK fan group. I'm pretty confident that our meetup will probably have some more members than meetups for the teams actually playing in the Super Bowl in the UK. A long-winded way of saying we are the best. But the actual running around hitting people part of the season is over. We champion
For those people listening, just go to YouTube and see what me, Nadji, and Gareth are shaking our heads at. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not even going to read it out.
Lee is in charge of the ticker on the visual there.
Can't you tell?
Anyway, enough of that. So the running around hitting people part of the season is over. So we're into the suits, the dollars, and the contracts part of the season, and we will be there to talk you through it all, pretending we know how the salary cap works. But we're getting quite good at pretending to that. We will cover the playoffs. We will cover any major news. It's not the end that we wanted, but think of all those early nights we can get, all of those cash that we're going to save on refreshments, and all of the stress-free playoffs. Take this opportunity to rest and recuperate, because you ain't getting it next year. Stay faithful. Go Niners.
Go on,
Go Niners.
Bang, bang, Nana gang.
Champions.
We love the San Francisco 49ers deep in the heart. Like Joe Montana in the corner, D. Clark. Garrison Hurst, stiff farm going 99. Don't